obviously, fellas, a lot to unpack from this one, a lot to unpack from this series. But, Sal, we heard Buck Showalter talk about staying together and Robertson talking about hopefully turning it around in Pittsburgh. But how can the Mets recover from this disaster of a series?
Well, I don't think that they can. I mean, they can make the playoffs. Sure, everybody makes the playoffs now. And if they don't make the playoffs, we're talking about another level of embarrassment. But they just went head-to-head with the premier team in the National League East, the team that embarrassed them last year, that stole that division from them last year. They had a chance to maybe get some revenge on them, and they get swept again. So we already know the Braves are on a totally different level, and the ultimate goal is to win a World Series. So how do you recover? They don't, because they're not good enough to win the World Series. Verlander's not going anywhere. Scherzer's not going anywhere. These are the guys that got beat by the Braves. So, yeah, you can talk about the positives, and I don't know how there are positives, Buck, when you just got swept 3 straight games in Atlanta. You're 9 games back in the loss column. But they can make the playoffs, sure, maybe have, that be a success for them. For me, it's not, because they cannot win at all. They're just not good enough.
I'm so glad that you referenced last year what happened against the Atlanta Braves, because you thought you would get the very best out of the New York Mets in this series. And you think about the 3 games, guys, in this series, the Mets had 3-run leads. In tonight's game, they didn't have 1, they didn't have 2, they had 3-run leads. So, Buck, I love you. I don't want to hear that you're proud of the team after the game. That is nonsense. That is unacceptable. The team is yucking up leads left and right down in Atlanta. The same team that embarrassed you down the stretch, that caught you last year in the National League East. And I'm totally with you there, Sal. The Atlanta Braves are outclassing the New York Mets every which way. They are the better team. They're going to win this division. And from a Mets standpoint, Eamon, it's about getting a series in Pittsburgh so you get things right and you start getting yourself back to playing a winning brand of baseball. We thought the Mets had rediscovered something on that homestand. They sweep the Phillies. They play really well against Tampa. They sweep the Cleveland Guardians. And then you watch these last 6 games. This looks like a team that's going nowhere fast. They need to turn it around in a hurry.
First 6-game losing streak since 2019. And as JJ mentioned, the Mets led 6-3, 8-5, and 10-7. So obviously, guys, the bullpen will collectively get the goat horns. But JJ, how much blame does Justin Verlander deserve for this L?
Ton of blame. We gave Max Scherzer a lot of heat yesterday when he yucked up the lead for the New York Mets. Justin Verlander gives up 3 runs early in this game, and the Mets come storming back, Sal. Nimmo hits the grand slam. That's got to be it. You're a future Hall of Famer. Your team needs you, and I get it. These guys are going to pitch much better for the New York Mets, but, Sal, this is the team they need to beat. They need Verlander and Scherzer on their game in order to go and beat the team, and they fail miserably.
All that being said, now we can hammer the bullpen, Sal, because obviously the loss of Edwin Diaz has caught up with this team. Has this bullpen already run out of gas?
Yeah, but it's because of the starters not doing their job from start of the year. I mean, Verlander hasn't been here, and then he comes in the big game, to your point, goes 3 innings. That can't happen. So their starters have been inept all year long, which has stretched out the bullpen, which wasn't that good because they lost Edwin Diaz in the WBC before the year gets started. Now you have to stretch all these guys. Ottavino coming off an aberration of a good year last year. I never trusted him. Drew Smith. I'm still waiting for Drew Smith, the guy I've heard about for years. Oh, he's going to be an impact arm out of that bullpen. Drew Smith. Oh, what do you see this guy? Drew Smith. Yeah, I see him. You know what I see every time? Home runs. He gives up gopher balls every single time he's in the game. He's terrible. Tommy Hunter shouldn't be in a big league. So the Mets bullpen isn't anywhere near as good as we thought it would be coming into the year. Obviously, Diaz is a huge part of that. But the starting pitching, where they were built to go 6-7 innings every day, they haven't done that. That has taxed the bullpen. And in June, they're burnt.
Because the underbelly of the bullpen for the New York Mets is not good enough. To your point, you're putting everybody in a different position because you don't have Edwin Diaz. You can't have your starters burning out the way that they did earlier in the year. And listen, the Met offense was terrific tonight, but it kind of sums up where things are for the team. They pitch well, they don't hit. They hit, they don't pitch. And you kind of knew, right? When the Braves came back late in this game and when the Mets don't score in the top half of the 9th inning, you knew right then and there, with the way things are going for the New York Mets, they're losing again.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not cashing in the 9th was disasters for the Mets.